Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Hello and welcome to an Inkdependence.com brief video review and water drop test. Today we have a Sailor ink. It is Sailor Kin Mokusei. This is a Jentle ink, a Four Seasons ink. This is the new reissue of this color, as far as I can tell. I don't know much of the history of the Four Seasons inks, actually. I didn't get any of those when they were first out. This is actually provided as a sample for review by Anderson Pens. Thank you very much, Brian and Lisa, for hooking me up with cool ink samples. Y'all go check out Anderson Pens. They're good folks. And this is a very cool ink. This is one that was immediately a hot ticket because it's supposed to resemble Apricot, which is a very cool ink as well. It comes in a box like this. Actually, it doesn't come in anything anymore because you can't get it. Apricot was discontinued a while back. When they released the new one, so I don't know, a year or two, something like that. And this is a cool ink, but I haven't used it all that much because it's actually kind of light. And there's been a lot of talk about these two being identical, and it's not quite true. They are a bit different. We'll see the differences here in a little while, but let's look at Kin Mokusei right now. Some cat hairs, goodness, Mr. Nose has been on my desk recently. All right, so this is a little bit wet, but only like slightly, and I can only tell that because I happen to know these pens pretty well. I had it in two pens. One of them is this one, which is a Franklin Christoph Pocket 66. This is the antique glass finish, it looks really nice with this ink in there, actually. You can really see definition there, a little point there where they stopped drilling. And it's very nice. And it hasn't leaked on me at all. I haven't had any weird problems with burping or anything like that. Quite happy with my choice to eyedropper this pen. It's worked out real well. So that's what it is. And this is a broad nib. This is a very large, let's see if I get this to focus here. There we go. Very large amount of tipping on here. It's a big broad nib. It's a little bit on the wet side, but not crazy wet. And the other pen is this one, which is honestly not one of my favorite pens. I know a lot of people love Metros, and I just never really had the love for Metros that other people have. This is actually Audrey's pen. This is a fine nib. Let me get it focused. Yeah, there we go. And you can see a huge difference. Let's look at these tip to tip. There we go. Check that out. This huge difference. So I've got a broad and I've got a very fine here. So, and it worked pretty well in both of these pens. It actually works, I really like the way it looks in the broad nib. It actually is totally legible in the fine nib as well. And this is an extremely fine nib. The fine nibs from the Pilot Metropolitans are crazy, like way too fine for me to actually use much. Audrey can use it much better than I can, but I don't know. It's too small for me, I think. So if you're looking for a very fine nib, the fine on the Pilot Metropolitan is extra fine. So no sheen, no shimmer, unlike some of the other inks that I've been doing recently, but plenty of shading on here. You can see some here, of course, in the splotch, which is otherwise remarkably even. The saturation of this ink is on point, I believe. But also, you can see a lot here. And you do see it more on the Rhodia paper than you will on other papers, of course, just because of that coating that Rhodia puts on there. Here it is on the 20-pound copy paper from Staples. As you can see, it behaves pretty well. And as I've had before, I actually get more feathering from this fine nib than I do from most of my other nibs. It's got more feathering than it does here in the broad nib, and I think it's because this nib is so sharp and so tiny. I think it's cutting across the fibers in this quasi crappy paper. So I think that's what's going on there. And so you get a fair amount of little. I think you get more bleed actually in the. Let me get this orange out from underneath it. There we go. You get more bleed through, I think, from the fine nib than you do from here. You get some spots and stuff where it was very, much heavier, like the ends of strokes and that kind of thing. But more, I think, from the fine nib. But you do get some bleed through, so not a perfect ink. What are you going to do? All right. As far as comments, I really dig it. I love orange inks. Y'all know this about me. I didn't have any rat snake left, I don't think, but I've got them. I can show you them next to each other. And if you go to the blog, you'll see a bunch of little oranges and stuff next to each other because I have quite a few. But there you go. Here are some things that were on my desk. These are the only things I had inked up with orange. I'm out of my my favorite Ackerman ink, which is the orange bovine. I'm out of rat snake. I tend to run out of orange inks because I just use them so much. But you can see the two inks that people are talking about here: Kin Mokusei up above and Sailor Apricot down below. Kin Mokusei is, by the way, named for the sweet olive tree, and it has flowers that smell like apricots. So it's clearly meant to reference this ink. But they are not alike. I mean, not identical anywhere. They're in the same vein, but Apricot is much more yellow than Kin Mokusei is. Otherwise, it behaves pretty much the same. I've put it in a pen as well just to try it out again. But you can tell quite a bit different, actually. And I think I like Kin Mokusei better because it's more orange. The apricot is a very pleasing color, and it's, you know, an all-time favorite of most folks who've used it. But Kin Mokusei, I think, is a little bit better for me. Underneath that, I've got more or less red. So I've got Sides Kruznak Tomato Red, which is actually a very cool ink, and I kept forgetting that it was in this pen, and fortunately that pen has got a good cap seal, otherwise I would have like ran out. Sailor Irori, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. If somebody knows Japanese better than I do, which is adding it all, please let me know if I've murdered pronunciations. Which is a beautiful red, and I really like it. That's one of my like top two from this group, and the other one I'll show you in a few days. This is Tecker ink. Tecker ink recently kind of folded up and went under. It was run by a couple of students, and they just didn't have time, I guess, to really give it the attention it deserved. Hopefully, that that service where you can get, you know, inks to order pops up somewhere else. I know that you know, there are talks with other vendors and that sort of thing, so maybe it'll happen, but we'll see. So this is one that I've called Piazza Cake, which is kind of it's reminiscent of a nail polish. So Audrey's been making or having made glittery inks to go along with or glittery nail polishes to go along with glittery inks, like you just saw last what was it, Saturday that I got that posted? Saturday or Sunday, I don't know. Days blend together sometimes at this point in the semester. That's why I've been a little bit absent, but this one is made to resemble a nail polish, and I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of like an orangey red. It's more tomatoey, I think, than the tomato red, but you know, it's just me. All right, let's take a look at the water test. Do a little water testing, huh? And let me get this back in frame a little bit. There we go. All right, let's give us a nice stripe here and some there. That's pretty good. All right, we'll do that. There we go. Let me get a screenshot right quick. There we are. All right, so you can see quite a bit of that coming away. I'm not really, I'm not thinking there's going to be any water resistance to this guy to speak of. In fact, I would be pretty shocked if there were. So let's go ahead and, what did I do with my, here we go. I lost my paper towel. I don't know where it went. Here we go. I saw some room. There we go. All right, good. And lots of it came up. Not much remaining. Oh, there is some, and you can sort of read it, but it's not great. Not great at all. It's not got any real water resistance. I mean, it changes too much. Too much of it comes up, but we'll see what's left. You'll see, go over the blog, you'll see what's left when this dries. I'll take a picture of it dry before I post that blog. So there you go. All right. Let's zoom back out just a bit, and we'll take a look at chromatography. Chromatography, go! All right. And here is what you end up with. Kin Mokusei looks like this. All kinds of tones in there. It's actually a very pretty little bit of chromatography, kind of like a little sunset there. And then this just is further showing that these aren't the same ink. Apricot is far more yellow. I mean, look at the yellow in there. And Kin Mokusei is a straight up orange. So, yeah, not the same ink. Sorry, folks. They did not just duplicate Apricot. Or apricot, I don't know, whichever one you say. Tell me in the comments whether you say apricot or apricot. Also, maybe where you like grew up, because I think that has a lot to do with it. Like pecan and pecan. I always called them pecans, but I know others in the South call them pecans. So, you know, there you go. And I grew up in like South Texas-ish, but kind of all over. So there you go. This is there's a chromatography for those two. Nothing left down here. That's why I suspected there wouldn't be any water resistance on either of these. But there you go. That's that. Okay. What's left? Oh, here it is on Mormon word cards. I really like these quite a lot. Let's go ahead and let it do that. It's getting a little overexposed. You can see again there, not the same ink, but it is a beautiful ink. It's got a great tone to it. Really dig that. Let's look at it on a, here it is in my currently inked journal. In those two pens. It actually looks quite nice, I think. No, nothing weird. but both are totally legible, even the super fine. So big differences there. All right, and I believe I have it here in my Tomoe River. Let's see, here's some oranges. So this is Papier Plume Sazerac, which was limited edition back in back in July, May, June, July 7th, July. Goodness. What else have I got? Rat Snake, which is actually pretty close, I think. Rat Snake and Kin Mokusei. Yeah, fairly close. I think Rat Snake's a little bit darker, and it's a bit drier too. I like Kin Mokusei better, which is not surprising. I do love Sailor Inks. There are very few bad ones. In fact, I can't really name any. So there you go. Anyway, there you go. There's Apricot and Kin Mokusei side by side on Tomoe River. Kin Mokusei looks totally gorgeous on this Tomoe River. Look at that. Look at that swatch, a little scribble. Come on. You're getting overexposed. There we go. Yeah, totally gorgeous ink. So check this one out. It is the same sort of price as the rest of the Sailor Inks Sailor Jentle line, which is around 18 bucks a bottle. So it ain't cheap, but it is a very cool ink and probably worth adding to your collection. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. These aren't limited edition inks or anything like that. So check those out as you pick up inks. I am Mike. This is Ink Dependence. You can find me online at all the normal places, including, but not limited to, YouTube, where you probably are watching this right now. You can find me on the blog at www.inkdependence.com. You can also find this ink at Anderson Pens, who graciously sent me this sample. And you can find me on Instagram as @InkDependence. All right, that's it. Peace out. See y'all later.